Hello, welcome back. So today we are going to discuss, right, referencing and populate. So it defines the relationship between two collection, right? So how two collection will be like, see, let's suppose we are creating one collection of user, where the user data are there, like username, email, password, phone number, address, right? So these are the things are there in the user table or user collection, and that same user is creating some post, like how you will create Instagram post, or how you will create LinkedIn post, or how you will create what is that, so Facebook post. So if you create a post, that will be on your name, right? So let's suppose five members have registered to that application, registered to that Instagram, or registered to that Facebook. So five members are there, but five members, when they are creating post, because see, post is one table, user is one table, but user will have different IDs, different name, different emails. Same way, post will have different ID, titles, description, photos, images, all those things, right? But let's suppose 20 posts are there, but some five posts will be for one user, six posts will be for one user, so rest of the post will be for other users. Okay, so how it will define like which user created which post? So what happens? Like we will pass. Let's suppose I am already registered to that application. One user, right? User ID one. Okay, user ID one. You are one user. That is user ID two. Okay, so I am going to create a post. So once I am creating a post, let's suppose post needs a title, image, description, okay, so all these things, but with that, when I create the post, no, automatically I have to pass my user ID as well. So post will have one extra field called user ID, so that user ID for each post will define like who has created this post. Got it, Amar? Who has created that post? Understood? So user created five posts means that all posts will have same user ID. Then only we can get to know, okay, this post, all these five posts has created by one user, because all have same user ID, right? Understood? So now let's suppose, now later we are telling like, okay, show me the post by ID. Okay, show me the post by ID. So with ID, we are getting the post. Okay, we are getting the detail of the post, but we are getting user as user ID. But how we get to know like which user this belongs to? We have to populate the user, right? We have to like with ID, we have to get user detail also, so that we can get to know, okay, this post belong created by this user name, like this name or this email or this phone. So now we are going to do all those population using this referencing and populate. Okay, so whenever we are doing find one or find many, okay, for the Mongoose to display multiple posts, so all posts will have post detail plus the user detail, not only the user ID, but with user ID it will be all extra details, all other details of the user will be displayed. Okay, so first we are going to check without populate, and next we are writing the populate, and we are going to check what details it's giving. Understood, Amar? So we are taking example of user and post. Okay, so user stores the user information, post stores the post information. Okay, and one object ID, that object ID what we are getting no every time, so that object ID we are binding with post while creating post. Okay, so more example, like see how we define a schema for both the schema. So both the schema, let's suppose user schema I have defined, so I'm just keeping Mongoose as a first line. Second, I'm just creating the user schema. There I have defined name, email, and then I have completed my schema with user table. Understood this part? Any doubt here, this part, Amar? This is just a user detail, right? With passing name and email. I'll just pass a small things, because we are not focusing on the schema. Basically, we are focusing on the population of this schema, right? So let's go to next. So next we have post schema. So post schema, you can see we are going to create a post. So post will have title, post will have content, and one more thing, post will have a user ID. So see, title you have given type string, required true. Content you have given type string, required true. But user ID you have to provide ID of this user. Okay, ID of this user. So the type will be mongoose dot schema dot types dot object ID. It will be type. Normally type will be string, right? But for this user ID, type will be object ID because this object ID belongs to this user. Okay. And then it will have one more property called ref. Ref property will define this post schema is connected to other which collection. So it referencing the collection called user. So user is the collection we have to bind here. So that means like this post collection binded with user collection. There is a relation between these two. Okay. So one to many, like one user can have multiple posts, right? So it's a one user multiple post, one to many relation it's defining. Okay. And then I'm telling required true because any post you are creating, if randomly you will create without user ID, then that post belongs to no one. So it will not display anywhere, right? So it should display like, yeah, this user having this post, this user, this post is created by this user. Okay. So this is the schema basically we are going to design for post and for user. Understood this part? Okay. Okay. So user ID, what is there? Like, see, normally, like, see, you went into market, right? You went into market. You are the person. Okay. Your name is this. Your email is this. You went into market and you bought some 10 chocolates. Okay. 10 chocolates. So there in that 10 chocolate, 5 chocolate you are telling it's mine. And 5 chocolate you are telling like it's me, it's yours. Okay, something like that you are telling. So why you are telling 5 chocolate is your? Because in that 5 chocolate your name is written, right? If you write your name in that 5 chocolate, okay, Amar in one chocolate, second chocolate Amar, third chocolate Amar. So instead of writing Amar, you are telling no, I don't want to write Amar, I'll pass my ID. Means you have your ID. I have one ID. Let's suppose your ID is AMR123. My ID is SAN123. So you will write in all 5 chocolate AMR1, AMR12, AMR123, AMR123. In other 5 chocolate you will write my number, right? ID. So that is the only because now I'll keep in one box that all chocolate and I'll mix that. I'll reshuffle that chocolate and I'll throw that. And I'll tell, okay, tell me which are the Amar chocolate and which are the Sandeep chocolate. So how you will identify, tell? Amar? Ha. So based on the ID, you will differentiate. So whichever chocolate will have Amar ID, you will tell, okay, this is my chocolate, right? And whichever chocolate will have Sandeep ID, you will tell, no, it's your chocolate, right? So any chocolate you are creating, that chocolate also it's like we are creating. So while creating, we are writing our name, or instead of name, we are writing ID. So same way, while creating post, we are writing our ID. So that ID belongs to user, right? So user, so that ID is not normal ID. It's not like 123 or 567. It's a proper object ID. Okay, because whenever any document will created, for that one object ID will be created, right? Already I have explained you. MongoDB will create one ID, unique ID. So with that ID, we can access any data of the user or any data of that collection. So same way with that ID, we can access the respective detail. So here I have given mongoose dot schema dot types dot object ID. So this user ID has type as object ID. Means we are telling like no, you have to pass object ID as a value. You can't pass other ID. You can't pass 123. You can't pass 567. You have to pass object ID of that respective user. Okay, and then so which collection that object, because see every collection, every document will have object ID, right? Post also having object ID, user also having object ID. One more collection will create, there also object ID will be there. But that object ID belongs to which collection? Either it is user collection or it is post collection or it is other collection. So that is the reason I'm telling this is user object ID which belongs to user collection. So whatever user this ID will be there, whatever ID we are passing, basically that we have to provide ID from the user, not from the other collection. Right. So that is the reason we are telling referencing to user table. So later once I'll go and ask the detail of ID, no, that ID I want pass to post. That ID I'll take and I'll go to user table because it's referencing user table. Understood? Got it now, user ID? Okay, so I'll explain this once I'll create the data, no, then I'll explain. Okay, now let's create. So in next part, what we are going to do, we are going to create a controller. So in controller, we are creating, already we have created user, right? So we are creating the post. So in post, we are getting all the required data from object, body, and then we are creating the post. So while creating the post, I'm writing user ID as well, and I'm writing title of the post, content or description of the post, all those things I'm writing. I'm just saving the post and sending. So once I'll do this, it will create a post in the database which has underscore ID that is of post, but which has user ID that is of user object ID. Okay, that will be created here. Okay, so let's do that much only as of now. Understood? Let's do that much. Okay, so let's try to do that. Okay, so let me create, because very important topic. Okay, so let me create one more small project. So I'll go to document and I'll just create one new folder. Okay, so starting from this one I'm creating. Okay, so that you will understand properly. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write like ref populate API, something like that I'm writing, so that it will define like whatever is there. Okay, I'm just opening that. So I'll go to document, write populate API. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just go to terminal and I'll just try to do npm i, npm init, npm init hyphen y. Okay, so it created package.json, and then I'm creating npm I express and mongoose. Okay, that also I have created, installed the package, right? So let me create the main file, so that is index.js. Let me create one more folder called models. Let me click on index.js. Let me create controllers. I think no, it's not a controller, it's a controller. So let me rename properly, controller. Okay, so controllers. So index.js. So as it is, we are going to just take the express wala. So every time I want need to uh, do the writing, I'll just copy paste. Okay, so that it will be easy for us. Okay, just I'll copy. It's already non thing. Okay, so I copy pasted. So I've created an express and I have running the express on the 3000. And here I'm just writing uh, one method, so that we'll get to know like, yeah, it's connected to server. So I'll just write log and I'm just starting to server 3000, something like that. Okay, so this is done. Now let me bind that. Okay, so what we are going to do, app dot post. Okay, so before post we are going to create a model. So we are just creating a file called user hyphen model dot js. Okay, and same way we are creating one more file called post hyphen model dot js. Okay, same way in controller, user hyphen controller dot js. Every time it's happening controller, why like that? Controller.js, and same way we have post hyphen controller.js. Okay, so this is all things we are doing, and then we are calling the post model. So let me get the schema as well, no need to go every time writing and all. So I'll just go mongoose. Okay, mongoose, and just I'll copy some schema from here. Okay, so I'll just copy this. Okay, okay, fine. So already here object ID they have taken, but instead of that we can take other way also. We can just do mongoose. Okay. Mongoose require mongoose. Okay. So const, or else directly we can write like this. No. Okay. New mongoose dot schema. Something like that it was there, right? Even I forgot. Okay, let me check. Something like that it is. Mongoose dot schema, right? Okay. So let me go for that. And here I'm just writing post schema. Okay, I'm just doing model dot sport mongoose dot model, and I'm just writing the what is that? It's a post, right? So I'm just writing posts, and the schema is post schema, right? So let's define here. So I'll just write user ID. So what is that? Mongoose dot schema dot types dot object ID. Okay, so this is the type basically. Okay, let's cut this and let's write type. Okay, that is one, and I'll just write required true, sorry, required true, and same way title I'll just write properly so that it will be, you can write that way also, required true. Okay, title, and I'll just write description. Okay, so this also I'll just do type as string and required, I'm just making this also true. Okay, and then date to date, all these things is no issue because we are not going to do created at. So already we know we have to write type as date, and default as we have to write date dot now. Okay, so this is the thing, and one more extra that I have added, that is user ID. Okay, and then already I told you it will reference to other. So before that, first I'll let me go and create the user. So I'll just copy this. Okay, I'll go to user, I'll paste it, mongoose. So instead of this, I'll just do user, and then I'll not pass the user here, I'll just pass the name, right? Type string, and I'll just pass the email. So type string, I'll just pass the password, right? So type string, okay, required true. Okay, fine, and I'll just write phone number required true, and I'll just write address string default, I'll just write India. Okay, and I'll just write created at, so type as date and default at date dot now. Understood everything? Am there any doubt here? Okay, so here we are writing user, just follow it properly. Okay, see, users. Okay, we have created this user schema. So now whatever user ID will get created, that ID will be binding here, right? So it will be reference. So reference to which, so this reference value will be, you have to go to user model, you have to check what is the collection name we have given. So we have given collection name as users, so I have to pass here users. Okay, but that should be in double quotes or single quotes, whatever you want, you can keep. Okay, so this much only while creating the post. So let's go for the user controller. Phew, got tired. Okay, let me copy from somewhere. I need to simply go and every time doing the things. Okay, let me just start. Okay, no need to. Okay, so product controller, I'm just going, oh sorry, okay, we'll change it, no problem. Model dot export equal to controller. Okay, So let's change this to user user controller, and let's user will just try to register. Okay, user register we have done. Request response, body data. So this one will pass like this. So we'll pass name, that is body data dot name, and then we'll pass email, that is body data dot email, and same way we are passing password, that is body data dot password, and other we are passing, what is that, user model. So what was the required field? So I think phone. Okay, phone is also required field, right? So we'll just pass phone, and we'll write body data dot phone. Address, oh, sorry, address we'll just pass body data dot address. Okay, so we have done this, and we are storing into user model. Okay, and then user dot save, and sending the response. Okay, so let me call here user model. So let user model require, so it's in controller, right? So controller folder, so we have to do dot dot slash, so that it will come out of the controller, and then it went to model, and then we are going for user model. Okay, so that is the reason user model I have written. So I think user is done. Okay, registration code is done. Now next we are going to post controller. So for that, what I'll do, oh my god, what is that? Okay, just copy paste, and copy and paste it. So here I'm writing post, and here I'm writing post model, and here I'm writing post. So in post controller it will be user ID, body data dot user ID. Okay, that is one thing. And then title, same way, title. Okay, so other what is there, description, that's it. Okay, that much description, right? Description, and then here also we are writing description. Okay, that's it, I think, here. Okay, so let me check properly, anything got missed. So user ID, title, description created already, it will get created, that is not a problem. And then we are just doing post, just writing post. Okay, so I think here instead of user controller it should be post. Okay, so this is the one, post model, we have to change that. I think all looks good and fine. So let me check, I have exported. Okay, exported. Post controller I have exported, exported. User controller I have exported. Okay, exported. Okay. So let's go to index.js and let's create. So post. So we are going to do post of the user. So post of the user, I'm just writing directly. Uh, no need to go, because all those things I no need to teach you again, because already have studied. So later you can do properly. I'm just writing register directly. Okay. So better I'll just write here user slash register. Okay, so that will differentiate. Okay, so for that we are just going to let user controller equal to require. So it's in the index.js page, I wanted to access the controller, so dot slash is enough, controller slash user. Okay, same way I'll just do for post controller, post. So I'll just change post. Okay, so let's see. So let me create first API, That is register. Yeah, any doubt here, Amar? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Here. Double dot you are telling. Okay. No, you should not write like the double dot and single dot. See, first you have to see in which file we are accessing. We are accessing in index.js file. Index.js file is not any other folder. It's in the main branch, right? Yeah. So if you are accessing inside this, then already we parallel to this, these folders are there. No. So parallel to this, these folders are there means directly dot slash you will write, it will come to this means same path. Means it's like a dot slash is nothing but it's the same path. Okay, wherever this index.js file is there, there only this controller file is there, folder is there, right? Understood? So that is the reason we are writing dot slash. But let's suppose you are trying to access this model. That model is inside this one. But you are not trying to access from index. You are trying to access from controller, post controller, user controller. User controller is not outside of the controller folder, right? It is inside of the controller folder. So to come out of the controller folder, we have to do double dot. So double dot slash if we'll do, no, it will come out of that because we are accessing here, right? So that is the reason here I've written dots double slash because I'm accessing already inside one folder. I have to come out of that folder and then I can go to model folder, right? Without coming out of this, how I can go to model folder, right? So that is the reason I'm writing double dot here and only single dot here because I'm not in any other folder, right? Index.js is not any other folder. It's just parallel to controller. That is the reason I can access directly. So if I want to access package.log.json, I'll write just dot slash package.log.json. If I want to access the package.json, I can write dot slash package.json. So same way we are accessing package dot slash controllers and then slash user controller. Okay, so these are the parallel. Already I taught you last time. Okay, so here register we are trying to do. So I think that is one user, and then same way I'll just write here app.post, and then this time I'll just write here what is that posts slash create. Okay, and I'm just writing post controller dot, oh, I've written register but it should not be register, it should be create. Okay, so let me go and change to controller, post controller. I'll just write create. Create is a good name because we are going to create. Register means user register. It's a living being, right? Okay. So post controller, I'm just going to post model, and user controller, I'm going to user model. And same way here. So we are going to post controller create and register. Okay. So these two API we have created. So let's try to execute this. So I'll just write node space index.js. Okay, server running on 3000. Let me start the postman. So let me check where is postman. Okay, so just close this. I'll just create one more collection, blank collection. So that collection I'll name as post user relation. Okay, something like that I'm just trying to create. So let's add here request. So I added here request. So I'll just write register user. Okay, so this is post. So I'll just write post, and I'll just write http colon slash slash localhost colon 3000 slash users slash register, right? In body I'll just go to raw and I'll just pass it. So I'll just pass name Amar, email amar@gm.com, same way password ASTF1234. Okay, same way address India, and phone. So phone 923456789110. Okay, So I think this much is fine. So let's try to save first and let's try to execute. Let's see if any error comes. So I think error comes. Let's see what is the error. Okay, something is breaking. So reading name. Okay, but we have provide name, right? So we have provide name here, right? So why it's not happening name? Okay. Oh, maybe it's taking some other things or what? Let me check. Some mapping issue we have done or what? So we are writing users slash user controller. So let's go here. Name user model. So I think user model name is it? Yeah, it's correct only, but why it's giving like that? Okay, let me check what is it's telling. So it's telling user controller dot JS line number 7. So user controller dot JS line number body data. So body data is correct only, right? Request dot body. Oh, okay. I forgot one thing. Okay, let's go there index.js and let's bind that, right? App dot use because it's not able to take that. This one body data is not able to take. That is the reason it's giving undefined. Okay, let's try. So let's try once again. So I think it's created. Oh, okay. The thing is, we have not connected to database, right? So we have to connect to database. Okay. So let's connect the database. Yeah, that is the reason it's telling all these things. Okay. So let's connect. So database connection to I didn't write only. So let's connect the database. So for that, let's go to Mongoose. That also we'll try to copy instead of writing Mongoose. Okay, database connectivity, where it is, where it is, where it is. Okay, this is the one. So let's connect to database. Okay, so I'm just writing ref populate db. Okay, that is the db I'm just creating. Okay, so I think it's connected. Now let's restart the. Let me clear it. Okay, so that it will be proper. Okay, now database connected. Now it will go and store. Okay, let's try once again. So see, Amar has created. So see, whenever data has created in a database, you know underscore ID will be created. So underscore ID is nothing but it's a Amar ID, Amar unique ID, right? Got it, Amar? Any doubt here in this time? Okay, so this ID. So this ID only you have to pass when Amar is going to create. Understood? When Amar is going to create post, this ID has to be passed. So let's create one more Sandeep. Sandeep, I'll just write same, I'll just write Nepal and I'll just change. Okay, fine. So let me create one more register. So Sandeep also have created, right? So two user is created. Now let's suppose Sandeep ID is this, right? And Amar ID was that. So Sandeep is going to create a post, let's suppose. So for that, I'll just save the file and I'll just try to duplicate and I'll just change create post. Okay, so instead of users I'll write posts, right? Instead of register I'll just write create. Okay, so here I'm just writing the title and I'm just writing the description. Okay, and I think title description and what was that? I think that's it, I guess, for post, right? So we are passing title description and one more thing we are passing, that is user ID. Okay, so let me pass to this user ID. Okay, and let me delete all other things. So user ID. So user ID you have to because see Sandeep is going to create. So Sandeep is going to create means title is, let's suppose, new post. Title name is. This is the post description. Okay, just I'm writing something. So user ID. User ID, what we have to provide? Let's suppose Sandeep is creating this post. So Sandeep is creating this post means you have to provide Sandeep user ID, that is object ID. So copy from user ID and just paste here this. So whenever this post is created, that post belongs to this user ID. This user ID is nothing but it's a created by Sandeep. Got it? passing object ID. See, so already post has this ID. This is post ID, but this user ID is nothing but it's a Sandeep. So see, these are the post. So let's create one more post. So I'm just creating one more post. This is the post, one more post description. I'll just write one more post description. Okay, this time again I'm passing user ID mine only. Okay, so two posts I have created now. Okay, so one more post I'll create. So I'll just write extra post, extra post. I'm only creating this, so I'll pass my ID. Okay, fine, understood. So this is three posts I have created because in all these three posts, my user ID is there. This user ID is nothing belongs to user, right? So the user has these many details, correct? Understood, Amar? Creating post and creating user, till this much understood? Any doubt here? Okay. So this post has been created. Now let's Amar has to create the post. Okay. So Amar has to create the post. What I should do? I should get the Amar ID, right? So I don't have any API. So directly I'll just go Mongoose and I'll just try to show DBS. So I'll just try to make this more zoom so that you can see. So you can see there is a, okay, where is that? Ref populate DB, right? So I'll just go use ref populate DB, right? I think that is only the one, ref populate DB. Okay, so we have switched. Now I'll just write db dot users dot find. So two data is there, Amar. So I'll just copy the Amar ID. Okay, here I got the Amar ID. Okay, so let's create a post for Amar ID. So instead of user ID, I'll just pass Amar user ID. Okay, so I'm just creating new one, or let's suppose I'm just writing the title as post one, right? And this is the, I'll just change some description so that it's not look description of post one, right? So let me create. So this post is created, but this post belongs to Amar, not mine. Okay. So one more post Amar is creating. So two post Amar is creating. So post two. So let me create again one more post Amar is creating. So let me create. Okay. One more post. Let me create four. Okay. So these all posts Amar has created. So some post I have created, some post Amar has created. Now tell me here. Now let's suppose I'll just do db dot posts dot find. Okay. Now tell me Amar, which post is created by me and which post is created by Amar. You will not get to know, right? Because all are object ID only. How you'll get to know this post belongs to Sandeep post, or this post created by Amar, or this post created by Sandeep? Because all are having user ID as ID only, right? Got it? We can't differentiate, correct? By seeing this, we can't differentiate. So let's suppose if I'll write one API to get the list of post, got it? To get the list of post or to get the post by detail. Okay, so let's try to create one more API, that is post. So we'll go to post controller and we'll try to create one API. Okay, so just copying and just pasting. So let me create. So it should be uh, post by ID. I'm just writing name as post by ID. So we are trying to take the ID from params. Okay, dot, I'm just taking it as ID. Okay, so this ID, so I'll just write params data and I'm just taking it as params data. Okay, so this params data, so basically it has to get the underscore ID colon what is that, params data, something like that we are trying to call. Okay, no, what is that? ATM pin. What is that ATM pin? ATM. What is ATM now? What is the relation between ATM and here? We are just writing the ID of the post so that we can get based on the ID. Pin for that object ID, that is 100%. That ID is not ATM pin. ATM pin is not like that. ATM pin means it 10 times you will withdraw, but your pin will be same, right? But here the pin will be different. No, for each post, one different ID will be there. Correct? Not user ID. This is post ID. Okay. I mean to say, not this ID we are trying to access. We are trying to access this post ID. We are trying to access this post ID. See, this post having user ID as 323. This post having ID as 321. Right? Different IDs there. Right? Correct. So based on this ID only we are going to access. So we'll get from the params and we'll try to access post model and we'll just send it. So just clear it, await post model, and async already we have done. So I'll just write a response. Okay, so we'll just send the response. Okay, so post by ID. So let's try to create this in index.js page. So similar, I'll just copy and I'll just write post by ID, but here /:ID will be there. Okay, so and here it will be post by ID. Okay, so that's it. It's done. Now let's restart server and let's try to access this API. Okay, so let's go here and let's try to save this. Oh, okay. One more thing, I missed it. It should be get request, right? Okay, so let me restart server once again. Okay, let me make it duplicate. So I'll just get post by ID. Okay, so change it to get, and instead of this, post by ID, and then / we are sending the ID, but before that just we are going get as none. Okay, body as none. So let's try to access now which post we are trying to access. So let's try to access any post we can copy. So let's try to access this based on this ID we are trying to access. Okay, let's see. Okay, where is that? Okay. So let's pass this ID and just call it. See, when we called, we got the post, right? Extra post. This is the extra post. But who has created this? Can you tell me? You can't tell me, right? Because the user ID is coming as ID. Got it? Understood? So now we are not getting this, right? We are not getting to know who has created. So basically our motto now is to take like user data, like user name based on this ID, right? So either you can do one thing while calling this API, you can just go and take this user ID again, one more API you can call, right? Taking the ID and calling from the user ID, right? That you can call. That is one way to trying to explore the user detail, or else we can use the populate method. Okay, there is a method called populate. Okay, so next part we are going to check. Okay, so there is a method called dot populate. Can you see here, after find one by test checking with any filter, we are writing dot populate. So dot populate, what it will do, it will take three things like either path, either what you have to select, and other options are there. Okay, path, select, and match, something like that. Okay, so we are telling populate user ID. So what is the thing, means I'm telling don't give ID, try to go yourself, take that ID, go into that table, explore that data and bring it for me and assign it. So without populate we have checked, we have not written any populate, right? So if you are not writing any populate, then nothing is coming. It's coming user ID as user ID. But if I'm writing dot populate and then user ID, that means it will take that user ID, it will go to user table collection, it will search with that ID which is the user belongs to, and that entire detail it will bring and it will return within one query. No need to call 10 queries. Okay, so that we are going to check. Okay, so what changes will be there? I'll just go to post model. Okay, sorry, post controller, and here properly see. Okay, so basically it is a find one, right? Find one. So here though I'm just taking with ID, so it's just giving me data, right? But after getting the find one, means after getting the detail, I'll just write dot populate, means populate. But populate will only work when in the post model you have created any reference wala property. This property is not reference of user table, right? This property is not reference of user table, correct? So only you can do ref populate to this ID. So whatever ID we are providing in the post, this ID only we have to copy, and I'm telling, okay, explore this ID. I don't want only ID. I want exploration of this ID. Means I want inside based on ID what all details are there. That details I want. So I can go to again post controller, and in place of this I can just write as object format. If you want to write in object format, you have to write all the things. Like you have to write path, that is user ID. Okay, so let's try to check with one property, and let's try to do this. Okay, so now let's suppose if I'm calling this, now see, now in the place of user ID, ID will not come, all the details of user will come. See, came properly. See now, previously what was coming in user ID? Previously in user ID only this ID was coming as a string, right? Understood, Amar? But now what is coming? User ID with all the user details are coming, right? Understood? So now by seeing this post, you understood whose post is this. Got it? Who created this post? Now Sandeep created it because Sandeep detail is there. But here is one wrong, because see, we are getting the Sandeep detail, but see what we are getting. Email also we are getting, password also we are getting, phone also we are getting, and this all if we send to client, then it is misuse, no? It is misuse of your credential, right? So what we'll do, we'll just do select only name, email, something like that we can do. Got it? So that is the thing. We have to provide one more next parameter to that populate, that is select. So in select what we'll write? We'll write name colon 1 and email colon 1. Only two things we need, then only two things we have to pass. That's it. Now just restart it. It's similar to writing after find one populate select will write. No, like that only we are writing. Now let's suppose one more time I'll call. So this time I want only name, email and underscore ID, by default it will come. Okay. So let's send. Now see. Got it? Understood? Okay. So this is kind of referencing. So it's like there is a relation between user and the post based on this user ID population. Now this data if you'll send to user, what they will do? They will create one table. In the table they will provide title. So they will access title by response.title. They will access description by response.description. So post title, post description. Now they will write one more column as created by. So in created by what they'll do? Response.userid.name. That's it. So we can get to know like which is the user created this post. Now if you want to check other posts, then check other post. So let's take other posts. So let's take what is the user ID? 319, right? So let's take this. So we'll take this post ID and let's try to check. Okay. So this is created by Sandeep. Now one more sending. This is created by Amar. See, we got to know this is created by Amar, right? Understood? So whatever you want to populate, that only you have to pass. Means what is the key written in the post? That key only you have to pass. Don't pass any other key. Got it? Here you have to pass the key which is there in the schema of your post schema, not user schema. So post schema, if you go, you have written user ID is the key which has to get populate. Okay. So you have to pass there as a path as user ID. Means what is going to populate. Okay. And already we have defined like this user ID belongs to user schema. So it will not go to any other schema, any other table. It will go to user table because in schema already we have binded search in user table only. Don't search in post table. Don't search in other table, other collection. Got it, Amar? Understood? So like this also relationship will define. So instead of this, now how much time you saved? If you could not write this populate and reference, then what you could do? You could take that user ID. You could again go and search one more user like user API. Again calling the method, again touching the database, checking which user ID belongs to that ID, and then again bringing that data entirely from the user table. So no need to do that directly with this reference and type object ID. We can get the detail of user also in the post response. Okay. Normally in post response only user ID is going, but with this populate and all, we are able to pass the user detail as well. Got it, Amar? Understood what I'm telling? Okay, so these are all the reference of post and this one. So it's not necessary for me to write all this every time. I can take other project and I can just write small things, right? I can just change it, I can just copy paste. But why I am doing again and again one different project means, let's suppose one time you didn't able to focus 10%. So other time I'm doing, you can focus 20%. Another time I'm doing, if you can focus 30%, 40%. So it will be for you to improve. That is the reason I'm doing every time new project. Understood? New folder. Got it? Okay. So that's it for today. So see, I have written path select. So whatever you want to select, you can select. Okay. So you have to practice this as well. Okay. Thank you. So tomorrow we'll see for other thing.